Hello friends, welcome to Brain Amplifier. Today we are going to learn about testing of transformers. We all know about the tests that we study in our colleges, like the open circuit test and the short circuit test of transformer. But today we are going to focus on the tests that we do on the manufacturer premises and on the actual place of work. Why do we need to test the transformer? Manufacturers do the testing of transformer to validate their design and to validate the quality of manufacturing process. Similarly, the customer do the testing of transformer to verify that the transformer they have received is of the order that they have ordered. Also, we do the testing to detect any damage to the transformer during testing or during normal operation. Important tests which are done on the transformer. These are the tests that we do periodically on the site. We will learn in detail about each and every test now. Transformer winding resistance test. In transformer winding resistance test, a DC current is injected across the windings. The voltage drop as well as the test current is measured and the resistance is calculated. For the purely resistive object, the measurement is trivial and very easy to perform. When the measurement circuit is highly inductive, measurement may become rather complex, which is definitely the case of transformer. Now, always try to saturate the core. This happens only when the test current is about 1% of the rated current. The time required for reading to stabilize will vary based on the rating of the transformer, the winding configuration, and the current output selected. This is the mathematical expression of the test. Here U is the voltage, applied voltage, R is the resistance, I is the current, L is the inductance, and T is the time. The first term is R into I. This is the winding resistance R times the current. That is the what we want to measure. The second term is the error term, that is inductance into change of current. The solution to avoid this error is to keep the test current constant over the time. The third term is current into inductance change. It is difficult to reduce. In practice, the only way is to wait for the inductance change to stabilize. This is the reason why it takes long time for the reading to stabilize when we go for checking the winding resistance of the transformer. This is a sample format showing the test of a transformer. Here we have tested winding resistance of a UAT2A, that is the unit auxiliary transformer. The test has been done for the tap position 3. However, we should do tests for all the taps of the transformer. We should do the test on the HV side and on the LV side. For the HV side, the HV configuration is delta for this transformer. We have done the test for UV, UW and VW. And for the LV side, the test has been done for RN, YN, BN and also for RY, YB and BR. Transformer ratio measurement test. The tap changer of the transformer is kept in the lowest position and the LV terminals are kept open for doing this test. This test is done by using specialized kits like the one you can see on the screen. The principle is simple. We apply a 3-phase 415 volt on the HV terminal, measure the voltage applied on each phase on the HV and the induced voltage at the LV terminal simultaneously. After measuring the voltage at the HV and LV terminal, the tap changer of the transformer should be raised by one position and repeat the test. That is, we should do the test for all the taps of the transformer. This is a sample showing the test of the transformer. Here also the test has been done for tap position 3 only. The calculated turns ratio is a turns ratio that we get on the nameplate of the transformer. That is told to us by the manufacturer. The measured turns ratio is the ratio result we get by doing the test. Deviation. Deviation is the measured turns ratio minus expected turn ratio divided by the expected turn ratio into 100. The kit used for getting the transformer ratio can also be used for knowing the vector group of the transformer. Magnetic balance test. This test is performed to detect the faults in the magnetic core structure, shifting or de-shaping of windings, failure in the internal insulation or fault in the tap changer. These faults change the effective reluctance of the magnetic circuit, which affects the magnetizing current required to establish the flux in the core. We do not need any specialized kits for doing this test. The test picture is simple and we need simply a voltmeter and an ammeter. What we do is we connect single phase 230 volt between the first and the second phase of the primary side of the transformer. For example, we have connected between 1U and 1V. Then we measure the voltage between 1U, 1V, 1V, 1W, and between 1W and 1U. We do the similar thing for the secondary side. We measure the voltage between 2U, 2N, 2V, 2N, 2W, and 2N. The readings are recorded in the format shown on the screen. Now let's focus on the table on the right side, that is for the HV side or the primary side. Here the applied voltage was between 1U and 1V, that was 229.7 volt, and the voltage measured between 1V and 1W was 112.15, and 1W and 1U was 117.5. If the sum of the one and two voltages 1V and 1W plus 1W 1U is equals to 1U 1V, then there is no problem with the transformer. And if there is some deviation in the sum, then there is some fault with the magnetic core structure of the transformer. In both the tables, the voltage written in the bold are the applied voltage and the other voltages are the measured voltage. The table on the left side is for the secondary side of the transformer. The secondary side of the transformer that we tested was a star side. That is why the voltage was applied between 2U and 2N, and the voltage was measured between 2V 2N and 2W 2N. Here all the readings are in volts. The tan delta test or the dissipation factor measurement test. This is the most important test of the transformer. Tan delta is performed to investigate the condition of the insulation of the power transformer and the bushings. What is tan delta? Tan delta is the ratio of the resistive component of the current to the capacitive component of the current flowing through an insulator. A pure insulator which is connected across the line and earth behaves as a capacitor. There is no resistive component of the current as there is 0% impurity. For a good insulator, the resistive component of the leakage current is quite low, and for an ideal insulator, the resistive component of the leakage current should be 0. Now let me tell you what is tan delta. In this vector diagram, you can see the system voltage is drawn along x-axis. The resistive component of the current will also be along the x-axis. The capacitive component of the leakage current leads the system voltage by 90 degrees and it will be along the y-axis. The total leakage electric current IR plus IC makes an angle delta with the y-axis. This is the angle delta, that is the total leakage current IL makes with the y-axis. From the above diagram, it is clear that the ratio of IR to IC is nothing but the tan delta. The delta is also known as the loss angle. Interpretation of tan delta measurement. Now, once you have measured the tan delta value for a transformer or a bushing, now you have to interpret the result. What does the result mean? First way is that you have to compare the present result with any previous test result that you have done. If there is any increase in the tan delta value, then definitely there is deterioration in the condition of insulation due to aging effect. If we do not have any previous test result and we have not done any test previously on the insulation or on the transformer, then what we do? Now, if the insulation is perfect, the loss will be the loss factor on the tan delta will be approximately same for all the ranges of test voltage. If the insulation is not sufficient, the value of tan delta increases in the higher range of test voltage. In this graph, you can see for a new insulation, the value of tan delta remained almost constant and increased a little bit only for an increased range of voltage. Whereas for an old insulation, it increased for higher ranges of test voltage. This is a sample of the test done on a transformer, unit auxiliary transformer. Here the voltage was applied between HV and earth, HV, LV and NV earth. The test voltage are on the range of 2 kV, 5 kV. We get the result on the screen as capacitance, current and tan delta. These three are displayed on the screen of the test kit. The tan delta value should not increase by 0.5, should not go beyond 0.5. Dissolved gas analysis for transformer. Oil sample analysis is useful predictive maintenance tool for determining the transformer health. The breakdown of the electric insulation materials and related components inside a transformer generate gases within the transformer. The identity of the gases being generated can be very useful information in any preventive maintenance program. These methods involves sampling the oil and testing the sample to measure the concentration of the dissolved gases. It is recommended that DGA or the dissolved gas analysis of the transformer oil should be performed at least on an annual basis with result compared from year to year. Now we know that the insulating mineral oil used in the transformer is a mixture of many different hydrocarbon molecules. The fundamental chemical reaction involved in generation of the gases is the breaking of the carbon-hydrogen and carbon-carbon bonds. The energy required for breaking the carbon-hydrogen and carbon-carbon bonds comes from the energy contained in the fault of the transformer, and different gases like hydrogen, methane, ethane, ethylene, and acetylene are generated. All these gases are composed of carbon and hydrogen. This table has been derived from the information provided by the ANSI and IEEE. Here the normal limits and the action limits for the different gases is shown. For example, the normal limit for the hydrogen is 150 ppm and the action limit is 1000 ppm. As the value exceeds normal limit, sample frequencies should be increased with consideration given to planned outage in the near term for further evaluation. If the value exceeds the action limit, the removal of the transformer from the service should be considered, and transformer should not be kept in service further. From the type of gas generated, we can also know about the potential fault type. For example, if there is a hydrogen concentration in the gas, the fault may be corona or arcing. SFRA test or the sweep frequency response analysis test. A transformer can be considered as a complicated distributed network of resistance, inductance, and capacitance. Or in other words, a transformer is a complicated RLC circuit. Because of this, each winding of the transformer exhibits a particular frequency response. What we do in SFRA? In SFRA, a sinusoidal voltage Vi is applied to one end of a winding and output voltage V0 is measured at the other end of the winding, and all the other windings are kept open. As the winding is itself a distributed RLC circuit, it behaves like a RLC filter and gives different output voltage at different frequencies. A plot for the output voltage at different frequencies is generated. Now we get a plot for a winding. Now what we do? We superimpose this plot with the plot we have obtained in the previous test. If there is any deviation in the two plots, it is definite that there has been some mechanical movement inside the transformer. Now how do we, if we do not have a previous result, then what we do? Now first case is if we have the previous signature or the previous SFRA curve, then we compare it with that. Now if we do not have the previous SFRA curve, we compare it with the transformers of the same type. If we do not have that also, what we can do is we can compare the SFRA of one phase with the SFRA of the other phases of the transformer. If there is any deviation in the signature of all the three phases, then there is definitely some type of fault inside the transformer and we should check it. Thank you.